Hello and welcome back to another Eureka Blu-ray update for 2025, and this is a very important video for me personally because I can't remember the last time I sat down to film a video, had so much trouble that I had to eventually abandon it as I did last night. My hay fever was going absolutely crazy. I tried for like 2 hours to make this damn video and it wouldn't stick. Like I just had to keep blowing my nose every sentence and it was just miserable. It's still all there and it's been there for weeks. I've now jacked up with nasal spray. I'm praying I can get through the next like 25 minutes and then just breathe and watch the sun set on a grateful universe. So today we're going to be talking about the first wave of DEFA releases from Eureka. I talked about this before. It was kind of teased, I think, at the beginning of the year, and it started with the box set Strange New Worlds, science fiction at DEFA. So DEFA was a East German film studio that was founded in 1946, just following World War II, and was disbanded in 1992, I believe, at the fall of the Berlin Wall. And so it has its own kind of, it's a contained history. It had a beginning, middle, and an end. And Eureka started releasing films from the DEFA studio and their archives. And what I really have enjoyed about that, and it's not even just DEFA, but just the general leaning towards German cinema this year for the Masters of Cinema series and Eureka stuff, because, I think back to the early releases, and it's stuff like Metropolis, it's filmmakers like Fritz Lang, Murnau, and so to go back to kind of German cinema, I think has been a breath of fresh air and a lot of different kind of varieties of genre as well, including kicking off with this box set, which is the incredible release that features 4 films from 1960 to some point in the 70s. I forget exactly when, but yeah, 60s and 70s. I believe the first film on the set, The Silent Star, was released in 1960. And I've done a video reviewing this entire box set. You can go check it out. There's an unboxing, but I can't resist the opportunity to just show off this incredible artwork by Carly AF. Just gorgeous. You get kind of pieces from all of the films represented in this beautiful wraparound piece of artwork. And on the inside, you get 3 discs split across 2 cases. Nice big thick booklet. I believe this is sold out now, so I'm not even sure if they're doing standard release. I hope they are, because they're great films, and it's been a great journey for me going through these vintage science fiction films, and that's something that I really enjoy, is seeing older sci-fi films, seeing the nuances of the special effects and the approaches to special effects, which were probably changed forever by the time you get to 2001: A Space Odyssey. But, in its infancy, I mean, God, you go all the way back to the silent era, I suppose, of science fiction. But I just love seeing the care and attention to detail when you can tell they've really put a lot of time and effort into it. And The Silent Star, which is the first film in the set, is easily my favorite. This is about a mission to Venus. A strange artifact has been found on Earth, and it's a message is decoded, and it leads them to Venus. This is a great kind of mission to space movie. You get like all the astronauts as kind of a big global international effort. There's lots of different nationalities of people from all over the different realms and areas of science and stuff. And I just loved all the launch and the build up, and then finally the mission, and then arriving on Venus and alien world and how it's depicted and stuff, and it's in color as well. I loved all the visuals, and it's just a great film. I love The Silent Star. And then on the next set, I guess I should show you the inside as well. Get the disc there of The Silent Star. Again, I've done an unboxing of this, and I've done an in-depth review of The Silent Star. I wish I could have done it for the whole set, but I mean, I'm like James Rolfe, I just don't have time. The next section, we have Signals: A Space Adventure on disc 2, and Iolomia, also on disc 2, and then on disc 3 we have In the Dust of the Stars. So I love this cover actually. It's a bit muted when you kind of with the glare and everything, but I really like the depiction of this moment from the film Eureka. So Signals: A Space Adventure is a bit more kind of hard sci-fi. It's about this well, it's a rescue attempt. There's been an explosion in space, and we follow a crew as they're going out to the wreckage basically. And I think from memory, I watched it a couple of months ago now. From memory, the crew thinks it's a salvage mission to kind of salvage what's left, but the captain knows that it's potentially a rescue mission. And it's about the psychology of the captain withholding this key piece of information from his crew. And I love the kind of philosophical dialogue in the film. And I loved some of the special effects. Like, there's some really great stuff going on with models and also just like scale stuff as well. Like, really impressive for its time. But it does have a few weird tonal shifts. Like, suddenly you'll be watching this incredible sequence. Like, the opening scene is just incredible with the editing and the flash cutting and the sound and the depiction of this kind of catastrophe in space. And then suddenly we're on a beach and there's men kind of walking on their hands, canoodling each other's feet and laughing and frolicking. And it's like, it's weird kind of tonal shifts throughout the film. But I really enjoyed it. And then Eureka, I loved. That one is about this kind of theoretical planet in space called Eureka. But it's the kind of inciting incident is that all these different outposts in space where they have, people from Earth, they start going off and basically that there's a kind of an international incident, quite literally, and we follow kind of the efforts of to kind of solve this mystery, but then also we follow this man who's stationed on an asteroid. I love that part of the film as well, and how obviously all the characters kind of come together by the end. But it was the most intriguing one for me as an idea and kind of the theory behind it in this planet Eureka. I just really enjoyed the story aspect the most in that one, I think. And then In the Dust of the Stars, quite a trippy one. It felt like, to me, in a good way, like an episode of like a 1970s British science fiction show. It's about a crew who land on this planet, and it's an alien planet, but we have like a human civilization, and they go and meet these people, but there's something a bit off about them and their kind of society, and we soon learn a lot more that's kind of under the surface, and it becomes about the oppression of another people, and very trippy at times. There's a bit of kind of psychedelic stuff going on. The villain, I suppose, of the film, he has a little lair which is like mirrors, and there's like heads in the wall and stuff. It's really strange, but I kind of enjoyed it. Now, there was a bit of controversy around In the Dust of the Stars because the transfer does have AI upscaling on it, and you know how much I hate AI upscaling, and it was a very controversial topic on the Blu-ray forums. And it's one of those things where, you know how much I hate AI upscaling of any kind. The difference here, I think, is that this is something that was not Eureka's decision, nor were they even aware of it until people started pointing it out. So it's just the fact that this stuff is so new that it just wasn't even something that was triggered when they were putting the release together. And it isn't anywhere near as kind of garish or cranked up to 11 as the Peter Jackson, James Cameron botch jobs. So it is a little bit more difficult to kind of decipher. And I did see some of the weird anomalies in that transfer, but it isn't something like, makes all the faces look smooth or anything. So it was kind of weird. It was like the transfer looked kind of good, but then there's just these weird little kind of light streaks and stuff. It was very strange. I don't know what happened there, who did it or why they did it, but it wasn't a Eureka decision. And they have made a statement saying that moving forward, they're going to be more diligent on looking at the masters of things that they're releasing and whether there's been AI tinkering involved, which sadly is just like a standard these days that is creeping into absolutely everything. And you all said that I was, and I've said this before, but you all said that I was overreacting when I said that this is going to filter down everywhere. It is. It's happening. We're seeing it now. It's everywhere. It's on YouTube. They're now doing it on YouTube. They're now making YouTube Shorts AI upscale, like as a standard. That's where we're living now. It's just this incessant need by people who don't know what the fuck they're doing to make everything look better by using AI, and it never makes it look better, and it is literally just slapping on a layer of false detail that makes no sense whatsoever to me. It's complete just lunacy. Anyway, this is a great release. Oh, and I should say the extras. There's so many, and I haven't even gone through all of them yet because I only did a full sweep of the first disc with the Silent Star. But you have like short films, animated short films that tie into kind of the theme of science fiction. There's an interview on the disc. There is a video essay, lots of cool pieces, newsreels from the time, which is really cool, especially the one with the Silent Star. You get to see kind of set footage of this 1960s science fiction film from East Germany. Like that sort of stuff I find so interesting, and I'd never heard of these films before, and I'm a huge fan of science fiction, so for me this was an absolute treat, and one of my favorite releases of the year. One of my favorite releases of recent memory, I think. So, it's a shame that the AI thing on the one film, which arguably is the weakest film of the set anyway, is there. But I don't think it discounts the quality of the set and how great the films were. And maybe not that they're all great films, but as a kind of, I don't know, as a kind of run of 4 movies, I had a great time when there was such a nice variety, and yeah, loved it, loved it, loved it. So the next one, and this is where you really see the range of genres that DEFA were putting out back in the day when they were kind of at their full force. This is from 1966, so a few years after the first science fiction film they put out with the Silent Star. This is The Sons of Great Bear. This one is directed by Joseph Mark and stars, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Goko Mitik, who plays Tokaito, a Native American hero in this film. This is what's known as a Red Western. And I had heard of this first because I worked on it. I did the editing for one of the 2 video essays. I think there's 2 video essays. There's 2 pieces anyway. A discussion. There's World Wide West, a discussion on the film with Austin Fisher. And then there's Homelands, a video essay by Lee Broughton. So that's the one that I edited. So I first learned about this release when I was kind of hired to do the job on it, so I didn't really have any kind of anticipation of the film so much, but I'm not a big fan of Westerns, which is interesting because the first 2 Eureka releases that I did video editing for were 2 Westerns, High Noon and this one. But knowing that the angle was that the Native Americans are the heroes and the American cowboys are the bad guys, I thought that was really cool and interesting, and just a nice way to flip the script quite literally on what you usually expect from a Western film. I don't know where they shot this, and I haven't really, to be honest, gone through all the extras on this one. So there's a commentary by Jenny Barrett, the aforementioned video pieces, an archival newsreel, and then there's a booklet as well with new writing on the film. So there's a lot there to dive into, and I want to know more about the film because I was quite taken with it. At first I watched it and I was like surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I was really taken with the depiction of the Native American culture, which is kind of I guess a controversial thing because you have all these European actors playing Native Americans. It's one of those things where it just kind of is what it is, but I found that they really portrayed the culture in a respectful way, and there's all these little details that have gone into in the video essay itself about, just little things that they were depicting that I didn't know about with, the way that Native Americans lived. So I found that interesting. But really it's the performance of Mitik as Tokaito that, for me, it felt really dignified, if that's the wrong way to put it, but he has such poise when he plays this character. There's a kind of regal quality that he brings to the character. And we have a really great villain here called Red Fox. I wouldn't know where to begin pronouncing the actor's name, but he's a really great villain, like a real nasty piece of shit. The first scene of the film in this little kind of tavern, and he ends up scalping this old Native American. It's just like, he's such a bastard, and he's just, oh man, you just want to see him get his comeuppance at the end, and that's exactly what you get. So my only criticism of the film is that we get the big showdown between Tokaito and Red Fox, as you want, and I don't know whether they ran out of time, money, or both, but the scene is a bit of a mess, and I hate it when people say, oh, that film was a mess, it was all over the place, it was incomprehensible, because then you watch the film and you think, well, I can comprehend everything that's going on. I think people just use that as a shorthand when they don't like something. The final fight scene between the 2 kind of main hero and villain in this film, it was a bit incomprehensible because they recycled shots. So suddenly we're going back to the same location again. Suddenly he's on a horse. Suddenly he's not. he's got a gun in his hand, he throws it down, the gun's back in his hand again, that sort of stuff. So in my mind, I kind of got removed from the scene because I kind of just imagined the Benny Hill theme playing as the thing was going on. So it was just one of those unfortunate things. But overall, I really enjoyed the film, actually. I think it was really good, and it's a nice transfer. It shows its age a little bit, but I think that there's some gorgeous landscapes and stuff. It feels like a really classical Western in that sense. It's just the difference is that the Americans are the bad guys, and maybe that's not the worst thing in the world to depict in terms of this kind of era of history. But I love this artwork here. It's really gorgeous by Colin Murdoch. And on the inside, we got a really nice piece, actually. And this is one of the ones that I was kind of sourcing material for the video essay. And this was one poster I came across that I thought was really nice. Not to say that's why they put it on the Blu-ray. I'm not involved with any of that stuff. And I should always state that while I do edit video essays on these and interviews on some of these releases now, I don't have any real involvement in them. I don't want to overstate that. But it was nice to kind of just be exposed to a completely different style of film, even though it is recognizably a Western. But it just, again, it flips the script on what you expect based on, the whole cowboys and Indians thing, where they're just depicted as, much different than what they were in real life, I would say. And, to a point, it's all entertainment, but I think that there's some worth to something like this. And it is a bit murky in terms of the fact that you have people who aren't Native American playing Native Americans, but I'm not thoroughly offended by it. So I really enjoyed it, and I know there's a whole cycle of, and this was really the first one that DEFA made that kind of spurred a whole cycle of, at least DEFA produced Westerns starring the lead actor as well. So I'd like to see more of his films as this character. I don't know if it is the same character, but I think it says in the back that there's like a whole, like, the Falcon's Trail, Blood Brothers. Yeah, there's quite a few of them. So I hope we get to see more of them. And it's intriguing to see that it wasn't just East Germany that were making Westerns, it was West Germany. They had their own cycle. And Germany in particular were just like fascinated with Native American culture, maybe too much. And that's really the subject of the video essay that I edited. The title is Homelands, The Sons of Great Bear, and Indian Enthusiasm. So anyway, that's it. And then again, really just to showcase the variety of genre, this one is from 1950, directed by Paul Verhoeven. No, not that one. Heart of Stone. So this is a DEFA fairy tale film. I, again, love the artwork on this one. This is another one by Carly AF. Absolutely gorgeous. The composition, the colors, the way it depicts our hero Peter here, and then the treacherous Dutch Michael. He has a kind of a whitened eye, so I love the way the moon there is just, oh man, it's just, yeah, that's just such a great piece of artwork. So this one, I'm just finishing up my in-depth review of, so you hear me talk about it a lot more in a future video. But I loved this. Oh my god, I loved it. And I believe this is the first, or at least the one that really kicked off a big cycle of fairy tale films from DEFA as well. So you're really getting these interesting kind of cornerstone films that they're putting out so far. So like the first major Western, first major fairy tale film, first major science fiction film, and then further. So I hope we get to see more stuff. I really do, because I'm finding it really interesting in a realm of cinema I had no idea about, or at least no knowledge of, and wasn't really seeking it out either. And that's, to be honest, that's the baseline of why I love this collection, why I love collecting in general. I think if I had my choice, I would buy everything, I would own everything, and I would have the time to watch everything, but that's not realistic. So you kind of pick your favorites, and for me, I ended up picking the MOC collection, and it hasn't really failed me so far in terms of just taking me on such a wild ride of different things, different films from different eras, countries, genres, feels, flavors. And Heart of Stone is no different. The beautiful location photography, the incredible sets in the forest in this film. So this is about a young man called Peter who's a coal maker, and in this village in the Black Forest, he's in love with the young woman who is kind of the apple of everyone's eye. Everyone's after this beautiful young woman called Lisbeth. And she kind of has a thing for Peter too, but because of their social status being slightly different and him being seen as what they call a coal rat, so like he's just seen as kind of vermin almost because he's just a laborer from the woods. he yearns for more, and he goes in deep into the Black Forest, and he meets these two mythical creatures, Dutch Michael, who's this kind of treacherous character who kind of offers him his heart's desire, basically, quite literally, and it's kind of the pact with the devil kind of story with him. And then you have the glass imp, who's more of a I don't know. Well, they're both mystical, I suppose, but the glass imp is more of a playful type, and a mysterious kind of quirky little fella who offers Peter three wishes, but he'll only grant two to begin with, and the third one will kind of be conditional. And so I really loved that magical twist of the story, and how these elements of magic played into the morality of the entire story, and what Peter's decision is with those wishes, and whether or not he takes the kind of the evil pact with Dutch Michael. I absolutely loved the film, loved the visuals, the story, and was just really taken away with it. It's just such a gorgeous film, and on the inside we got like a nice, I'm assuming, original poster there. And the extras are great on this one too. Now, people were moaning about the transfer on this one. I mean, some people just they can't be pleased, I think. So one review went up on Blu-ray.com and kind of complained about the transfer. He said he wasn't convinced. And now everyone's going, oh, well, Eureka messed it up again, based on the science fiction box set. This film looks great. It really does. Yeah, I can tell there's been some DNR going on, but there's no AI that's been messing with the image. And I think that it looks beautiful. It's bright and colorful as well. It's shot in color, and that was unusual at the time, especially post-war in those years where color stock wasn't as readily available, affordable. So this was kind of a big production in that sense, and certainly with the budget as well. I mean, there's sequences in the woods where like the trees are moving around and shit. It's awesome. But I think that the criticisms of the transfer have been overstated by quite a bit. I thought the film looked great. Not perfect, but I mean, these days it's just like, I think people in this era of kind of like 4K from the original camera negative restorations, I think people are expecting the world of every release, and it's just not realistic, I don't think. But I thought it looked great anyway. But the extras, we have an interview with Claire Knight about kind of children's media in kind of East Germany. There's a video essay by Mary Going about kind of folk tales. So I noticed that in my main review of this, I said folk tales. And I think that I don't know why, because I know that's wrong. It's folk tales and folk, not folk. And I'm editing the video. I'm like, why the fuck do I keep saying folk? I think it's because with Connie, English being her second language, we often will kind of, tease each other about, mainly it's me teasing her about the way she pronounces things. I think it came up once, and I just teased her to the point of her saying, no, it's folk. And then I just kind of second guessed it in the review for this and said folk instead of folk. Anyway, so there's a video essay about folk tales and gothic horror and Heart of Stone. I really enjoyed the video essay on this when it talks about the original story that this was based on, and stories of that era as well, and kind of gothic stories, folk tales. I love that stuff. It was really, really cool. And then there's 3 animated short films on this, which were, well, 2 of them were great. The other one I was mixed on, but it was, anytime you can see any kind of classic animated film, I think on Blu-ray, it's fantastic. I think they're all in standard definition, but they really looked good. And I just love silhouette animation. There's 2 silhouette films in this from, I think, the 50s. The Bremen Town Musicians from 1954, The Magic Ring from 1957, and then Thumbelina's Adventures from 1958. So Thumbelina's Adventures is a traditional, hand-drawn animated film. It was okay. I didn't really, didn't really light my fire. Light my fire? I'll leave that in for free. Didn't really light my world on fire. And then the other 2, the Bremen Town Musicians, about these 4 farm animals who go on a bit of an adventure, and The Magic Ring, about a man who goes on this kind of journey and ends up kind of fixing this watermill, and he's searching for a magic ring that the owner has lost. And that's really about kind of tying in almost with Heart of Stone. It's about making the right decision when faced with the possibility of making kind of a magical deal to get everything that you want, and whether that's the right thing or not. But just the way that they were able to use silhouettes. I mean, it's just pieces of cardboard. cut out and just photographed and moved, and the varying shades that depict depth. It's just incredible. So I love the two silhouette animated films on this, and then Thumbelina's Adventures. So you get kind of like, again, folktale themed short films. So it's kind of really tied in nicely with the film itself. And then you have a booklet with a new essay. And overall, I felt like every piece of the extras on this release, including the commentary by Sean Allen, they all had different things to say. So for me, that makes for a great release. And I thought this one was phenomenal. So this one gets my highest recommendation. I believe this one is sold out too, or at least it's on its way out of being out of print. So yeah, it's just it's one of those things where they're clearly doing well. And the next DEFA release that's been announced is Rack and Ruin, the Rubble film at DEFA. So I'm personally really excited for that one because I've done quite a few things on that release. So I feel quite close to it. Again, even though I don't claim any authorship of it or anything, and it's not like I contributed anything in terms of writing or producing anything like that. I merely did editing work on it, but I was kind of deep in that for like a few weeks, like really like almost 24/7. Like I put a lot of work into that, and I'm proud of what I did with the editing. And I also think that the actual box set itself, the films, are so important, so interesting, and again different because so you have the science fiction box set, you have the Western release, you have the fairy tale movie, and this Rubble set is 5 films that were made right in the post-war period in Berlin, in East Germany, and you have these films that some of them are literally shot in the rubble of Berlin, and it is absolutely incredible visually, thematically, philosophically, emotionally, and there's some really great films in there. I haven't watched all of them. I think I've seen 3 of them, and I think that it's a really special release. I think the extras are really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing the final set with all the artwork and the booklet and everything. So that is one I'm really, really excited for. Rounding off this update, there is a kind of a stray outlier, but I thought I'd throw this in there because we did the last update on all the Hong Kong stuff of recent times. And so this one kind of fits in with the more kind of, world cinema update with this one, I think. So this one is, I haven't done the spine numbers. I should have done the spine numbers. No one cares. I care. But this one is spine number 323 in the Masters of Cinema collection. This is Finis Terra. So this is a film by Jean Epstein, what was that film that he did in the collection? Excuse my squeaking chair. Queer Fidel, I believe. Yes. Okay, I should grab that one. I believe, what is it called? True Heart. So this is an early release from the MOC collection, and I really like this film. The editing in particular was really... So this is 1923, and this one is 1929, so near the beginning of the 20s, and then this one is near the end. But his style is certainly still there in terms of the rapid cuts. And in this film, we follow 4 men on a kind of remote island, and they're kind of harvesting seaweed. Another great piece of artwork there for the slipcover. This one's by John Dunn, depicting kind of a lighthouse. And do we have 4 men on the front there? Yeah, we do. Really, really nice piece, very moody and atmospheric, which fits the film itself, which is very moody and atmospheric. Now, I love silent films, so I was very keen to see a new one from Eureka. As much as I've loved the Laurel and Hardy stuff, I just love a good dramatic 1920s like silent film. There's something about it, and this one really kind of scratched that itch for me. It's about these 4 men who are working harvesting seaweed on this remote island, which I already just said. And one of them cuts his thumb. There's a bit of an argument between the 2 younger men. So there's 2 young men and 2 older veterans. And the 2 young men, they get into a bit of a dispute, and a bottle gets smashed, and his thumb gets cut. And this starts to get worse over time, and he's bandaging the thumb, but it's not healing properly, and he's starting to get sick. They think he's being lazy. They pay no attention to him until he's really, messed up. And now they need to get him back to the mainland, but they can't quite do that yet because of the way the sea is and the time of all that kind of stuff. And then we cut back to the mainland, and then we have kind of the drama unfolding of like, well, the fire's stopped. They stopped burning seaweed, but you don't see the smoke coming from the island anymore. And they go out to the lighthouse, and the guy gets the big telescope out, and then they've got to mount a kind of mission to go out and find out what's going on. The only thing I didn't like about the film maybe is that it felt like the island was a lot closer than the drama of the story was making it out to be, perhaps. I don't know. And I do feel like the other men were so flippant to him being, I mean, clearly his thumb is messed up. There was just like no empathy, and the way they were like, oh wait, he is really sick. It's like, well, yeah, of course he is. Look at him. What the fuck? But it is kind of played at a higher pitch of drama, I think. There's that kind of melodramatic edge to it. But visually, man, this film is gorgeous. And I feel like I'm a broken record. I edited the video essay on this one, and that was an absolute treat for me, just getting to work with some of that footage, because it's just so beautiful. There's so many shots of just like the waves crashing against the rocks on the shore in slow motion as well. And there's even bits of like where there's like characters talking dialogue. Obviously you don't hear it because it's a silent film. But then like one shot, they'll be talking, but they're moving in slow motion. It's kind of impressionistic, and it lends a kind of dreaminess to what's going on. And again, the fast cutting, sometimes the shots are so brief. And when I edited the video essay, I tried to kind of match that a little bit and kind of play around a little bit and have a bit of fun. But I don't know, there's these like close-ups on like just like objects, like there's a bowl and like the waves come across in slow motion. It's just a beautiful film, and the transfer is incredible. It looks amazing, so much grain and detail, and it just has an otherworldly quality at times, which does really suit the setting of the story, I think. I was really taken away with it. I read a criticism of the score. It is a bit of a weird one. I don't usually like kind of scores that feel like they clash a bit with the film, per se. I don't know if it says that there's any information on the score on the back. It doesn't, but I think it's one of those kind of more modern ones. But it felt appropriate to me when I was watching it, but it also felt a bit dissonant, the score. But I felt like that matched the dissonant feel of the visuals, if that makes sense. So I think I felt like it really worked, actually. But I understand what it can be like, because sometimes if you're watching a great silent film and you're not driving with the score, it can really mess up the experience. So I understand that if the score is not for everyone, but I thought it really fit the film, and I really liked it, actually. So on the inside we have a still from the movie of them burning the seaweed, which is very nice. And it's a 4K restoration, which doesn't surprise me because the film looks gorgeous, as I've already said. There's a new interview with Pamela Hutchinson called The Call of the Sea. I haven't watched this yet, but I love her stuff, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. There's Strangers in Strange Lands, the video essay by Eddie Falvey that I edited and really enjoyed doing so. And Capturing the Real, which is an archival interview with French film historian Joel Dare. So I'll open up the case there. Again, one of those kind of beautiful shots of the waves crashing against the rocks. Yeah, I'm already keen to kind of go back to this one and check it out again, actually. So a thrill for me to kind of be involved in some small, infinitesimal way, but in general, a fantastic release and a great series of releases in this video that I've just waffled on for about 35 minutes. And I'm so happy that I managed to film this damn video. I can't tell you how horrible it was to go to bed last night knowing that I'd started this and wasn't able to finish it. And I hardly ever redo a video, but I just had to redo it because I was all over the place last night, and I'm glad I managed to do it. And it's done, and now I can move on with my life. But there's plenty more videos to come, and I'm far behind on a lot of these reviews and updates and things, but I will chip away as I can. Let me know if you've seen any of the films I've talked about and what you thought of them. Otherwise, thank you for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the next one.